ridiculous, right? So that's who Cronus is. And okay, so let's set the table on Cronus, right? Let's get into it. So Cronus comes from obviously Greek mythology, Cronus, Greek myths, and he was the king of the Titans before Zeus, right? He was the last regime before Zeus took over. And how he got his spot was he overthrew his own pops, who was Uranus. So he overthrew him and then was like, I'm not getting overthrown. I bet you I'm not getting overthrown. Once he got on the throne, he's like, yeah, that's it, right? Yeah, one day you're going to have a son and he'll be the new king. He's like, no, I do not believe that I'm going to have a son. I'm going to have a son. Because here's the thing. Maybe just stop having sex. If it's this important to you, if it's so important that you have to eat your kids, maybe. But clearly he wasn't going to do that. Whatever Gaia was doing, whatever you can imagine, I do not want to have any kids because they're going to take over my kingdom. And then Gaia walks by and you're like, man, I don't even understand what's going on around here. So instead of just like, I don't know, refraining, right? It's okay to refrain, right? That type of restraint is okay, especially if it's the alternative means you're going to eat your kid. That's me talking, right? So this is his route. He's just like, you know what? I'm just going to eat these kids, man. And I don't know if he had a friend. I don't know if he had anybody around him who was like, what? What did you just say? Right? I don't know if that happened, right? But that's what he decided. I'm going to eat these kids. I guess Gaia was around. I don't know if she wasn't paying. Like he said it. He whispered it. He's like, I'm going to eat that kid. And she's like, what? And he's like, oh, nothing. I was like, I can't wait till that kid gets here, right? And I blame you, Gaia. Right? Because you just kept having kids with him. I think this happened like 6 times, right? It's like 6 times, right? Like it would have been like Hera, it would have been like Poseidon, Hades, right? There had been 4 of them. Maybe it was like 4 of them, right? Now, I know I'm missing a few here because I know the children came later, but it was a number of them. So it's happened multiple times before she finally put a stop to this, right? And gratefully she did. Thank you, Gaia, for finally putting a stop to this child eating nonsense going on at wherever you lived at, right? So eventually, like what happens is that he wants to consume, he wants to devour the future, literally. Oh, it's Hestia. Okay, here it is here, right? He's Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon. So I had like 3 of the 5 right? I had 3 of the 5 right. That's not bad, right? So he's devouring the future. This is entropy at its highest scale. This is entropy in the most mythic form. This is time consuming its own creation. In terms of like storytelling, few things are more powerful than that. Few things, and you can see the imagery of him there actually consuming his child. And the kids are trying to get away, right? I mean, here's the thing, like that kid is trying to get away. I don't know if you've seen that, like they're always trying to they know what's happening, right? And I know that inside of him, like they all pop up in whole, which suggests, like if they come out of you whole, that suggests that he swallowed you guys whole. But in these pictures, it don't look like he swallowed them whole. He's eating these kids, right? So just think of the sheer terror. And then those guys would go on and rule the universe. I don't remember a god of psychology giving out free therapy sessions for anybody after if you got eaten by your father, that's gonna leave a scar. Okay, so I'm just saying, and I'm a big proponent for everybody getting help, not in any comical way or anything like that. I mean it honestly, right? Like I will laugh at you, but I want you to be healthy. We all have to be healthy. I have to do that too for myself, right? So it's something that we should be able to laugh at each other about. I love you, okay? So entropy itself gets his victories in. Like he got his wins in for a long time. He was able to stave off, giving up power for a long ass time until Zeus busted through. And then after Zeus busts through, they end this chaos. And that's usually what it's all about. And we have a whole new era under Zeus and the Olympians, right? That it ushers in the new age. Not so dissimilar from what they had to do with Tiamat. So Cronus is different. He does not attack like Apep. He does not reset in the way that Shiva. He simply preserves himself by consuming growth. So he represents more of institutional stagnation, generations blocking successors, obviously systems devour innovation. It's like what Facebook has done to everything. It's why we don't have any other new cool social networks, because Facebook is entropy to all of them. He stops every single thing that we get that's cool. They buy it and they kill it, right? There is also political entropy. There is historical and cultural infantry, right? This is not explosive, but it is consumption. It is devouring what we could have. And this is where it gets to be really deep, because if you're for Cronus, what he represents is a fear of replacement, which is a very tangible and real thing in our actual world, right? It is a fear of irrelevance. And we see that at the top of power structures all over the world. That's a scary thing about it, is entropy sitting over there. And they fear that change. They are insecurity about their power. They don't want to give up. They fear secession. They fear, they suppress youth, whereas we should embrace the youth. When fathers compete with their sons. That's what entropy looks like in a family structure, when you are consuming their future and you are the ones, instead of trying to give them the tools to go further than you, right? You want to make sure they never exceed you. In fact, you don't even want to make it to the league. You don't even want them to make it to the league, let alone make it to the league and be better than you, right? And maybe that's why none of our Hall of Fame players has a good NBA son, right? Nobody. Think about it. Think about the fact that Jordan, Magic, Reem, none of them have. I mean, like, out of your top, I'm trying to think, out of your top 10 players, I don't know if that many of them have sons that even made it into the league at all. And I doubt it. Like, Bird didn't get a son in the league. You would think our best players, that somebody would have a great son in the NBA. Never happens. Maybe they were sabotaging. Maybe in the Jordan household, he was like, messing with your shoes or something to sabotage your basketball skills, so you'll never be better than me. Because they never will. It's not even a competition. And in hindsight, when I take a look at all three of these very powerful deity, Cronus is to me the big boy, because this is time. He's the most powerful. Shiva again resets the universe. Apep threatens the sun, but Shiva devours potential before it can bloom. That's the most powerful thing. He is entropy inside of power. He is collapsed from within. And unlike Apep, he doesn't need to win. He just needs to keep eating time. The longer he holds it at neutral, it's actually him winning. He's not driven out until he's actually gone and you've gotten past it. And he will not allow that, right? So a lot of power in this. So I'm going to close this by kind of talking about the chronology of all this, because you're going way back, like we're 2,000 years ago at the start of all this. And I'm going to take you guys up to modern times, because we see the first representations of this deity. Let me see if I got this here. Where are you at? There you go. Okay. I want this timeline here. So we're going as far back as 2500 BCE with Apep. Apep is the first one that we start to see. So we're saying 2500 years ago, in ancient Kemet is the first entropy manifestation in their cosmology. By 1500 BCE, in the early Vedic period on the Indian subcontinent, this is where we hear the formational talks about the deity that would be Shiva. Why are you only half the screen? I want you the whole. All right. Anyway. So this is when we first start to get, in their cosmology on the Indian subcontinent, the idea of the cyclical order. So that cyclical order set the framework for Shiva being the one who dissolves order at the end of it. That same time period, you have underworld texts start to develop that talk about Apep and the nightly journey of Ra. So this is where we're seeing the first stories that tell us how their cosmology sees him challenging everything at the end of the night. By 700 BCE and the Hesiod's theogony, we hear the story of Cronus. This is the first introduction of Cronus that became a generational story, right? This is defined how secession worked in that belief system. At 500 BCE, this is where we see the emergence of Shiva as a major deity within that triad, as I like to call it. So he is formalized as a destroyer transformer, and entropy at that point is framed as a sacred cycle rather than catastrophe. This is very important because this would be his foundation for the role that he would continue to play. By 500 BCE, we're also seeing in Greeks, it is far more kind of formalized at that point in Greek culture. And then well into the 1800s, we begin talks about thermodynamics in general. So thermodynamics is science's response to this culture or this ideology of entropy. The entropy gods are not really spoken about as much. You can see how we handle them. Most of them are a little more past, except for Shiva, who is more current and still has worship. Apep, I do have to admit, Apep does actually have functional, real life worship right now in America, in the country I live in. We actually have at least one person. I don't know if there's a whole lot, and I hope there's not, but we actually hear that worship, and the whole science behind it obviously is very strong. This is something that business builds principles around. Warehouses with storage, any ones that build mechanical systems. It's the reason why you never have perpetual motion. If that clears it all up, this is the reason why perpetual motion can never happen. It's because of entropy, and entropy works in different forms. Entropy takes on aspects of gravity, corrosion, simple wear and tear, friction. All those things are working towards the goals of entropy. It's a big payroll, and everybody's working down there, including us. We do things to facilitate entropy. You get in your car, you breathe in it, you bring heat, bring body smells, maybe perfumes or other smells, right? That is helping the degradation of your own vehicle, right? And we're just biologically existing. We introduce entropy in places that we go because you've introduced a foreign object into that. So that system's no longer closed, that system's no longer sealed, and that system's going to be subject to the same level of entropy that all these guys are rooting for. All these guys are like, yeah. Okay, so that's my entropy bit for today. I probably will be back later. What time is it? Oh, yeah, I got to put it. I'll probably be back later on. I'm just going to talk more about some cash mythology later. And then in the meantime, I'm going to be getting together some mythology stories for you for the stream. So anyway, hit me up. You guys know where I am. Thank you for stopping in as always, Kat and everyone else. Appreciate the support as this channel grows, and you guys know where to get me.